Hello ladies and gents! So, how did your first week of the Top Tankers event go? I certainly had a lot of fun and of course some frustration with it, and as I know now a lot better what to expect from the event, I thought a quick update with fresh tips could be handy. Talking about having fun with the event, I now have finally further news on the giveaways. While the event is running, every Tuesday and Thursday I will post a brand new challenge on Facebook and Twitter for a nice and shiny World of Tanks pin from What Boys. The challenges will be typically below 800 average experience to make them a little bit easier. The first person to beat me a screenshot as proof that they beat my score until the end of the event wins the pin. Easy as pie. Now I will also receive probably additional prizes from Wargaming as well by next week, so I will make a whole separate video of all the giveaway options out there. It's definitely worth scoring well. And now for the main topic of this video, which tanks to grind. Going for the tanks in which you are usually performing well is a really good starting point, but if other people do really well in them as well, then it can be quite difficult to score a good result. There are huge differences in the average experience required to get into the top 100 for all those vehicles out there, so I took the time and collected all the data for every single eligible vehicle. To cut a long story short, here are the 3 easiest and the 3 most difficult tanks for each tier in terms of their top 100 average experience requirements. At tier 6, surprise surprise, the highest average experience required to get into the top 100 is with the Cromwell B, where you need to beat a whopping 1054 average experience already after the first week to even be able to score within the first 100, and that's really far away from what you need to get in the first 3 positions. The second machine where you really have to know what you're doing is actually the T-37 light tank, where you also need a crazy 1052 average experience to get into the top 100, and on third place, well, no surprise there, it's actually the regular Cromwell, where you also need well over 1000, exactly 1038 average experience to be scored in the top 100 results. Now don't worry though, there are a lot of tanks out there where the bar for the top 100 entry is a lot lower. The lowest of them all is the Churchill gun carrier, which by the way has also the lowest barrier in the entire event at the moment, as you only need 502 average base experience to be able to score in the top 100. Well, I guess it's time to dust it off in the garage. Now the second lowest score at tier 6 is actually with the T-3485M, a special variant of the T-3485, which seems to be rather rare actually. You only need 583 average experience to get in their top 100 list. And the third, least well played tank, or better to say tank destroyer, is actually the French ARL V39, where to get in the top 100 you only need, as of yesterday, 603 average experience. Moving over to tier 7, the 3 most difficult machines will be the M41 Walker Bulldog with a crazy 1093 average experience requirement, the E25 with a very similar 1091 average experience requirement, and the third one is of course the trusty T29 American heavy tank, where you need to score at least 1038 average experience to even get in the top 100. The easiest machines at the moment at tier 7 will be the FV201A45, a relatively rare premium heavy tank, which didn't score so well until now, so you only need 601 average experience for the top 100. The second worst is the AMX-AC46, where you only need 633, and the third machine with the lowest average experience requirement at tier 7 is surprisingly actually the ISU-122S, a premium variant of tier 8 tank destroyer that you need only 715 average base XP. Moving a tier up again at tier 8, the most difficult machine to grind and actually the machine with the highest average experience requirement from all of them out there at every single tier, that's right, it's even beating tier 10s by a long shot, you guessed it, it's the brand new Rheinmetall Scorpion G. To get in the top 100 for this machine, you need over 1126 average experience, which is absolutely crazy. And this is only after the first week, so this will only go higher. The second best scoring machine is the IS-3, so you really need to be an IS-3 expert or get really lucky to be able to score in the top 100 for this, as you will need 1085 experience or better. And the third one is actually the super squishy AMX CDC, where people have scored really amazing score with it, and you actually need to get in the top 100 over 1083 experience. Now the lowest three include the KV-4 Kreslowski, a relatively new addition to the game, which not that many people have at the moment, so the average experience for the top 100 is only 604. The second one is, surprise surprise, another French tank destroyer, the AMX AC-48, where you need 684 experience. And last but not least, if you have a Kanonen Jagdpanzer T-Rate Premium tank destroyer, then it's definitely worth bringing it out, as only with an average score of 711 you will score already in the top 100. At Tier 9, the most difficult machines to grind will be the Skoda T50, which has the highest requirements at Tier 9 at the moment, having to score 1064 average, followed by another medium, the M46 Patum, which has a requirement of 1043, and surprise surprise, another medium after that. The T54 is a really strong one as well, having a requirement for the top 100 of 1042 base experience at the moment. Now of course there are possibilities at Tier 9 as well. The lowest score for the moment is a Tier 9 Soviet tank destroyer, the Su-15554, which has a score of only 769 average experience. This is followed by another tank destroyer, the Conway, where you only need 773 average experience. The third lowest is once again a tank destroyer, which will be the AMX-50 Foch, that has a requirement of only 774. Man, those French tank destroyers really don't place well. And finally at Tier 10, the most difficult machines to get a good score with will be the Object 140, which has an experience requirement of 1024, followed by the Batchet 25T with a requirement of 1022, and finally the TVPT 5051, which has a requirement of 992 average experience. Now there are surprisingly good chances for an entry at Tier 10 as well. The lowest ones are actually relatively rare machines. It's the T95E6, which has only a limit of 577 experience, the M60 with a requirement of 637, and the VK7201K, which has a requirement of 661 average experience only. Now if you don't own any of these reward vehicles, nothing is lost. The lowest scoring regular machine is actually everyone's favorite FV4005 Stage 2, aka the Shit Barn, which has a requirement of only 675 average experience to score in the top 100. I guess it's time to load those hash shells, eh? Now please take into account that this video is published on the 3rd of November, while the data has been collected on the 2nd of November. These values will of course change by every day, so take that into consideration. I think these are really good pointers though, which machines you want to grind if you only have a limited time. The full list is also available if you are interested. You can download the spreadsheet via the link in the description below. I think it's really interesting to see the differences in the performance of these machines, and hopefully this can also help your planning and secure a few prizes for yourself. Talking about prizes, you really have to have a cracking result to stand a chance to get in the top 3 of any of these machines in order to secure yourself a free premium. Basically, you will need an average score of over 1000 experience in most of the cases. Now of course this also means that you don't only need to play well, you also need to get lucky in getting 5 good matches in a row. If your team gets wiped almost instantly, you typically will have a shitty score only, ruining your almost otherwise perfect run. Don't get disheartened though if this happens. This only means that you typically will have to play more than 5 games in order to get a score that you are happy with. And I found that getting in the top 100 isn't as crazy difficult in a lot of cases as I originally thought. About your grinding methods, some people will prefer to grind one specific tank at a time, while others will prefer to play a variety. Be as it may, I suggest if you already have 2 or 3 really good scores with a tank, consider focusing on that one alone for the next couple of games while you are still in the zone. Also remember that the scores change daily as people score better and better, so if you had a really good position early on, it's highly likely that it will get pushed down by time by the new entries. Moral of the story is, don't be overconfident about your cracking score too early, or you might end up feeling disappointed by the end of it. Right, this was then a quick update video on the best and worst performing tanks out there in the event and how you can get your hands on some additional free loot. I hope you found this little video useful, and if you did, thanks a lot for considering giving this a like or sharing it. Now tomorrow we will continue with our regular Friday series Ace It, this time around looking at the fan favorite Leopard, and then we can chill over the weekend with some really cool gameplay. Thank you very much for watching everyone, and I look forward to seeing you again in one of the next videos.